Buddy, we should be live. I figured to do a short Smithers VOD review or match review of Omaha here. So since we have Phoenix versus Vanguard today on Omaha, I figured just to give a quick refresher and also to help out myself, of course, to about the map and the position. So I think this week's position or the mid cap will be artillery battery. And so, yeah, just going to run through this match. This was against GBI. I can't recall exactly whether or not this was an official match or not, but this was on Omaha, as you can see here, with artillery battery as the midpoint, and we go to Church Road and win 70. And GBI is a very good team, very good team. We always got to pay attention to their wide flank plays. They will get you from behind and without even you knowing it. And they think they even have some SLs that stay in almost one spot for 5-10 minutes or whatever. And it can be a pain in the ass because they will hide in the back line, right? And you'll think you've cleared out the area. But then wham, bam, shabamo, you look in the back line, and there they are, just setting up Gary, setting up OPs, that sort of thing, right? And it's just, it's really annoying in a way, right? But I get it. I mean, they're trying to get a competitive advantage, right? They stay in one spot, and when you least expect it, they spawn, and then they get you, right? So this match, once again, was on Omaha against GBI, and so we're just going to do a quick VOD review today about the point and the positioning and just sort of what the layout sort of entails. So we're going to skip ahead here a little bit. So there I am, just minimizing all the other squads. And so that way, over the course of the game, when a call for fills for a certain squad, I can quickly go to that squad, minimize or expand the squad drop down, and then see how many, if the squad is filled, right? So that's why I do that sort of squad minimizing right off the bat. Okay, so match warm up here still. Okay, so I'm driving around. And so artillery battery, it's going to be Allied favored in my opinion, because they have this fantastic building network over here in the background, which they can set up MGs, they can build garrisons with a lot more cover, and they can just come out. I mean, set up their OPs, that sort of thing, so they can come out a lot more easier than the Axis can on their side, right? So on the Axis side, you have these hedgerows here leading up to the point, but very thin cover if you think about it. And so it's a lot easier for, I think, tanks to splash HE and MGs to just pin down the enemy. Whereas on the Ally side, you can hide behind buildings, you can switch from a building to building, snipers can get up on top of the roofs, that sort of thing. And then plus the armor, I think, can move up a lot easier versus the Axis side. So that's just my general opinion. But with artillery battery, you got to watch out for the southern part because it's sort of like a wide open field in a way, but there is a long hedge down there, right? And so it may seem that the enemy won't be able to get through there really easily, but if you aren't paying attention, they could sneak around. I believe we played, I forgot what team we played on this, Helios played on here. Maybe it was IR or something, but we had artillery batteries at the midpoint, and we didn't put enough bodies to the south, and the enemy was able to wrap around there and sneak some bodies past the hedges and then establish OPs and get crossfire on our push into artillery battery. So you have to allocate bodies to the south, even though it's an open field, so just people to watch out there and just hold the line. But the main battle is going to be right in the mid cap with artillery going off on the point. Both sides just slam, bam, shabamo right inside the point and everything. And so and satchels going off on the bunker, of course, constantly. And then on the north side, you're going to have the church up here. And so you got to allocate a decent chunk of bodies up here to church because whoever controls this area is going to be able to spot anything back here moving up. And so especially if you get on the church, right? And MG is going to be able to set up there. Sniper is going to be set up there, that sort of thing. And they're going to have fantastic line of sight over the perimeter. And so you can also walk down the hedge here and get crossfire on artillery battery as well. But if the Axis are able to get presence up at the church, then you can move in here to these buildings, right, and slowly start to wrap south and get presence or get pressure on their northern cap sector area here. And just really start laying in some crossfire and get tank call-outs, that sort of thing, right? So that's sort of like the summary of artillery battery. And once again, the strong cap will be mostly filled with artillery and satchels, and usually you don't see too much ground what am I trying to say here? You don't see the point decided mainly on the strong cap, right? It's gonna, unless one side just pushes the other out, right? Unless they're totally dominating the gunfights. But it's going to be the wrap from the north, the crossfire, and then the potential wrap from the south as well, plus the angles from the tanks down here too. So I think that's a good general overview artillery battery. And then the fourth cap with Church Road. So in this case, the defense is a wide spread to cover and everything for going on Church Road. And then, at least in this situation, GBI have Win 70 back here. So a little bit easier for them defending. The Allies, in my opinion, have just a lot more easier time defending in this case, just because there's so much open field here to watch or just to be able to scan easily. And there's a lot of ground to cover in order to get to the hard cap, right? But let me know if you disagree in the comments. Okay, let's go ahead and just see how the point laid out.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think I have maybe 30 minutes here just to cover this match real quick and see what happened. So here I'm just driving around supply truck, right? Setting up the Garys for the opening. Truck's moving into the point. Nice, fine, and dandy, right? Dropping the supply box right here by the hedge. Gonna jump out here. Gonna put this puppy up. Nice coverage here with the two hedges on either side.
We sniped a Nest, got someone, 3 kills,
I just
2
shot my
officers.
flare. I don't know.
Okay, so squad lead calls out, hey, snipe somebody, right? So we have the presence up here at church, and we have our Logi moving up here, so he's responsible for setting up those wide Garys and potentially setting up something to the outside on their fourth point. And then to the south, these bodies here, they're going to be just probing and seeing how much ground they can give and just make sure to hold that line. And then we have the transport truck moving down here to the south. Pretty much they're just going to keep driving until they die. On this map, at least, there's really no point stopping the transport truck for artillery battery to get up on top of buildings and stuff like that, right? So you're going to see just the transport truck guys just keep going in competitive most of the time and just until they die. Because who knows? They can maybe wipe OPs. They can just get lucky, right? Who knows? Mainly thing you're trying to wipe OPs if you keep driving the transport truck.
I'm spawning on the Gary you just put up.
So we're a couple minutes in now, putting up the second Gary up here at Church Road.
Medium tank, Fox ping.
I think GBI still has cap progress right now.
Termark, Stewart.
Okay, so we'll just skip ahead here a little bit. Plenty of map views as commander, as always. Plenty of map views.
Yep.
Okay, so we see here Church is pretty much even split, I think. We do have some squad leads making some penetration over there to the east side, so that's good. To the south, it's because these guys are pretty much going to be holding the line right there. They're not going to be able to push much. MG fire tanks are going to be able to spot them pretty easily, right? So they're not going to be able to gain much ground there. And then in the middle, we see artillery battery. Artillery's falling on the east side from our Arty gun, and then on the west side, it looks like the infantry are all bunched up, right? So on the right there, you see the that open field to the northern side, right? And so there's not going to be much to gain there.
D4 is going to head back to Crossroads to build that gate.
Okay, so we'll just skip ahead here a little bit.
Reset, guys. Get ready for reset.
Okay, so when we're losing the point, we want to be sure to, if it looks like we're going to lose the point. So here we have about maybe 10 seconds or so before we lose the point. And you want to make sure you call it to squad leads, be like, hey, make sure to get by your OPs, get ready for a reset, right? Because remember, as soon as they cap the point, the OPs are going to be wiped from the map, right? And so if they're on a cooldown timer, they just want to get by their OPs, make sure to manually dismantle them, because if you manually dismantle them, then you can reset it right away.
Double up MGs on the church. One look.
Medium is on.
Okay, so looking here. So GBI has forced us pretty much out of the circle right now. And to the north, we still have pretty good, okay control of the church. And then we have a Gary up here for reflank, and Church Road is our fourth point. So we have defense back there, watching the line, making sure GBI doesn't send any probes. Because once again, GBI is known for their fourth point plays and just going all in. So I give them credit. If they sense any lapse in your defense, they will just shove everybody there and attack. I think they say spawn bomb or something in command chat. I think I've heard in some of GBI's player VODs or something. So they will go for it. If they sense a slight chance, they will go for it. And I got to give them credit. That takes a lot of balls. It takes a lot of guts, right? So, yeah.
I just need they're trying to wrap.
Okay, so we're going on. So I'm going on to the back line. So Flair's going up to spot anybody. And then we have me driving around a supply truck, just dropping backup supplies around everywhere, right? And then the push on the point's not looking too great right now. So we have the bunch right here. South has been pretty much wiped. And then to the north, the church control's looking a little bit iffy. And so it just looks very not so good right now. Because once you're forced out of artillery battery as the axis, you have a lot of open field ground to give. And so it's kind of, you got to win some big gunfights. So you got the fragging has to be in the positive side, right? In order to get that ground back. And then, of course, the armor advantage as well. Okay, so we'll just keep skipping ahead. Don't have much time today, but just figured do a quick VOD review just as warm up of the point.
Is releasing on
Waffles, tanks, if you can just hold that.
Okay, so now we have the armor pushing up. So 76 is pushing up here. We still have the medium over here, right? Church control, solid. Plenty of OPs near there. Sort of bunched up a little bit, right? Maybe a little bit too close together. But so it's always a dicey spot. But we do have some gaps in our defense up here in the northwest. We have no really radar up there, so GBI could sneak somebody all the way up to the very, very top and get somebody around and cause some havoc in the backline potentially.
That compound, we can try to get back in.
Is it still 1-0? It's still 1-0.
Okay, so I do a quick hit the dismantle garrison button just to see where our Garys are on the map, because sometimes you get convoluted with the OPs and everything. So just do a quick look at the map and see how everything is. And so in this case, we have the push from the east, west potentially on the point. So we have the 76 and the medium right here. But it's looking sort of dicey because they don't have infantry support. You always want to make sure you have infantry support by your tanks because we know how good AT players can be, right, when it comes to sneaking behind and getting a satchel on their tank. And so, so we have the church control, a little bit northeast control as well. So once again, trying to do the wrap around the point and potentially sneak some backline plays. And we have some flank SLs watching and everything. So that looks okay. And I'm just driving around supply drop, driving around the supply drop. Oh my gosh. Driving around in the supply truck, dropping boxes.
Is it light as
Copy.
Okay, so we're about 13 minutes left or 13 minutes into the game.
Not really able to get to angles where we can kill those tanks.
Okay, so we'll just skip ahead here a little bit, and I'm just driving around.
Garrison on.
Egg, I need you to come
Okay, so still map position status quo, right? No real big changes. We're holding the line, which is good. We have a couple AT guns up as well to get some nice AT gun penetration of the point. We have defensive SLs around the point watching, so that's good. And yeah, overall it looks okay. I mean, this is sort of the part of the match where you expect a lot of a long stalemate in a way. And just wait till the line develops. Like I always tell the team when I'm commanding, there's going to be a lull in the battle, right? There's going to be a long point in the match where nothing's really going to happen. Everybody's just going to exchange kills until a big play happens, and we may not even know what happens, right? Sometimes a player sneaks through and is able to wipe out a Gary, wipe out a series of OPs. Maybe a recon tank or a light tank does a crazy backline play and wipes out of 3, 4, 5 OPs, right? So you never know what play may change the game.
Attack from 2 directions.
South Stewart destroyed.
I'm putting.
trying to burn it. Poke.
Okay, so here I am just dropping supplies in the back line, right? Now, the German supplies sometimes a little bit pain in the ass because the tube, right, falls and it'll bounce around. And in this case, I wanted it to land in the I6 column there, or I6 grid. But unfortunately, it just bounced down the hill onto the beach, and so I couldn't. So they're pretty much useless to us. But in this case, the one in I-5 was okay. And there I am just prepping supplies for the 4th point play, because you always want to make sure you have something ready for the 4th point play when you're fighting over 3rd. So in case you have a squad lead nearby, you can get up a quick Gary, drop a couple spawns in there, and you want to do the double entendre, or not double entendre, but double attack. And so you cap 3rd and you spawn on 4th, you get pressure right away. And so the enemy's already in disarray, right? Because think about it, on their end, they were holding 3rd, but they were also probably attacking 4th. And so they have Garys for 3rd, Garys for 4th attack, and probably not many Garys for, or maybe not any Garys at all, for their 4th point defense.
For the red row. North of you, Sam.
Okay, so we'll just skip ahead a little bit, everybody. Pretty much status quo. We're getting some pressure here on the point. We're getting more bodies close. But remember, these are very concentrated areas. And remember, on the ally side, they have plenty of buildings they can get into on Omaha. And so you will have a much easier time as allies trying to hold that ground and maybe establish a launch attack, or establish a place to launch an attack. But on the Axis side, you're confined to these small hedgerow spaces with protection, and so it's a lot harder and easier for allied artillery to focus in on.
6.
Do you
Oh.
want to dismantle crossroads?
Okay, so we have in certain situations, right? 8 garrisons may sound like a lot, and now in pub matches, it may be difficult to imagine. Oh my gosh, how could 8 Garys possibly be too much, or too little, I should say. And we have just very finite spots to put, or in the competitive games, you want to have Garys around to be for radar, right? And so if you dismantle a Gary, then you're removing that beacon, if you will, or alerting point for knowing the enemy's close, and also a spawn for your team if they manage to get pressure on 4th, right? And so removing a garrison, especially when you're at cap and in this sort of a game against GBI, who you know will get in the back line somehow, it could be a tough decision to figure out which one to remove. I think I already removed one.
I just lost the
Yeah, 1 second.
tank, repairing to attack.
We need AT to option. Okay, so we're moving along here, pretty much stalemate.
Yeah,
Still holding the line.
Scooty, Galabus, toxic.
We had the garrison lighting up on Church Road, and that was because we had a lapse in sort of our pressure. So when you're looking at the map situation, you may think, hey, this area is pretty much controlled. I mean, these blueberries here, they should be able to watch the north and see if anybody's sneaking by, right? But in this case, we had nobody front door. And so the Gary just lit up on Church Road because GBI was able to just set up an OP here and walk right in, right? And so we had to do some shifting to move Able over there, right? So we had some front door presence, because even though it may look like a solid part of map control, sometimes it isn't, right? The enemy can just sneak on through those gaps, and they get you. Okay, so we're looking okay. We did lose the Gary on Church Road. The Gary on front door is warm, and me being commander, I probably should have asked for another OP to be allocated to front door, maybe a meat grind OP or something, or a flex OP. But in this case, I think I forgot to do that. But because when we're down to 3 defensive OPs, it can be just a little bit stressful sometimes.
Just send 1 infantry to help.
do you need
It's
help?
2 or 3 guys, but yeah.
Okay, so here we have pressure on Church Road, and the Gary is blinking at Crossroads, right? Oh, gosh, I hate these situations because we don't have anybody in the strong point on Church Road to tell us what the strong weight, cap pressure weight is. And so it's like, oh, man. And then we see all these OP marks and everything here on front door. We have a couple blueberries around, and we have the armor all the way to the south. It would take them a hell of a lot to circle back and help out Church Road. So this is a very dicey situation.
Look to the north. The garrison's hot.
Okay, I see.
So sometimes I don't know what it is. I mean, I sort of get silent in command chat, and I'm like frozen as to what to do. But it's just part of improving and making sure that you can just direct the team. And if we need to do a full reset to defend our 4th point, then it's better to do that than lose it, right? Because if you lose it, oh my gosh, then you have to fight back for the fourth point, and just you lose a lot of time. So in this case, as you can see here, we didn't call back enough in time, and they were able to cap Church Road with 59 minutes left in the game. And so that's delaying us big time as far as being able to obviously capture artillery battery. And it's also a big hit for the team's morale in a way, right? Because it's like, oh my God, we were all pushing front line, and then all of a sudden we have this pressure on Church Road, and nobody's really calling back for a full reset to help out Church Road. My voice is stuck in my throat, and you just can't respond in time, or the words are, like I said, stuck in my throat. And so I didn't help direct the team as far as saying, hey, we need help back on Church Road. We need to do a full reset and get help back there, right? So failure on my part to do that, to help coordinate the team, because part of it is like each squad lead is so focused on their own area that sometimes it's easy to forget that, hey, and some of them don't even have their HUD on. Got to remember that too. And so you have to be able to call, or somebody has to be able to call out that the pressure on our fourth point is serious and we really need help back there. So now the team has to rebound here and attack Church Road. So the armor is heading back, as you can see in the south here. So both Tigers are heading back. Remember, there's no Panthers allowed in competitive scene. And so Tigers are heading back here, and so they'll reset and everything. We do have at least decent positioning around. Crossroads is okay. Maybe. We don't have much presence on the strong point here. But yeah. Okay, so we'll keep going here. Okay, the team is recovering. Now keep in mind, this can be a competitive advantage, if you, or a secret advantage, if you will, if we lose our fourth point. Now, hear me out. Because GBI has captured Church Road, all these garrisons back here are going to go against their limit, right? And so they'll be forced to dismantle a whole bunch of garrisons back here and move up, shift garrisons up to this line, and then also in the D and C column as well, right? So they're going to lose a lot of spawn points because they capped. And so if we're able to cap quickly after they reshuffle, so give the team maybe about 10 minutes to reshuffle everything, then we can potentially be at a better advantage for a double or triple cap, because they won't for sure have anything near 170. But you would have to make sure you have squad leads in position to do both of those bunny hops, if you will.
Give it a try if you can.
Okay, so we'll keep going ahead here, driving around the supply truck. And I think that's what I was thinking maybe was, hey, I could have a chance for a double or triple cap. It has happened before. There have been some competitive games where a team has literally capped, been down 1-4, and I think capped in the final, the next 3 points in less than about 7 minutes or something like that. It was a pretty crazy game. I think it was maybe LWFG or something, or maybe it was STDB. Can't remember exactly. Okay, so the team is rebounding. The armor's in position. Everything's looking okay, right? And granted, I was like demoralized. I think I was partially demoralized at this when they capped Church Road, because I was like, oh man, I should have called for a full reset. But those are things you just have to live and learn from. Things to learn from. Okay, so we have Gary set up. We have squad leads moving around, right? So, in sectors. Okay, so I'm moving up here. I think I forgot what I did here exactly. I'll get back in the truck. So GBI, once again, has snuck people around, and they're getting behind the point in a way, right? So we have the Gary lighting up in the background. So you always got to be careful of those spawn bombs from B5 area, as in this case, way behind our line near the HQ, because once they sense an advantage, GBI will go all in. So here we have the tanks moving into point here. It's looking really good for a potential recap. But remember, we did lose, I think, maybe 15 minutes here or something like that. But kudos, big kudos to the team for rebounding here.
We gotta cap the point, guys. We gotta cap the point.
Okay, so 45 minutes left on the clock.
Like the 5 column?
Okay, so we captured Church Road, right? Unfortunately, there's nobody in position to get up New Gary for artillery battery at the moment, but it's okay. GBI did a good job of sealing off the perimeter, making sure nobody penetrated on through too much. And so here we have to the south, we're going to have to regain all this ground. We're going to set up shop here, Gary's, and then get back control of church.
Yeah, 5 column. I didn't get
Tiger drops right in front of me there.
What's up,
Heavy
boys?
by
Okay, so we'll go on.
Copy.
They are close.
Currently.
We're sending the medium down to D7 to clear it out.
Okay, so the team is looking okay, right? We're gaining all this ground back. We're wiping their OPs, wiping their launch garrisons, and was looking okay, but we still have to regain all this ground here to the south and hopefully set up for our tanks. Here's me shooting somebody potentially.
It's gonna have to be north of this Gary mark.
I got wiped. It's up to you to get that, Gary.
I hear you, Pope. We'll try our best. They're full squatted up there.
Okay, so we have a big, nice spawn wave down here to the south as far as regaining all this ground and everything. And the back line, we have to be careful with the back line, right? We always have to be careful with the back line because, once again, GBI is not going to give up. They're going to try again. They're going to try again to get back into our back line and get something. Hey, Dark Visionary, buddy. Okay, so we'll keep on going on here. So now we're down to 38 minutes left on the clock. The tanks are helping regain all this ground back down here. Infantry is established at Gary, so they're going to be able to next springboard down here to set up another Gary. And so that will allow them to start the frontal attack on artillery battery. Okay, and we keep moving on here. Tanks are at an advantage at this point, so when they sense an advantage, they can hurry up because it's going to take GBI a little bit of time to get armor from the beach, right? And so they have to go up this path and everything, come around. So GBI, once they lose the 76, they're going to be on a little bit of a delay versus the Axis, which I think we'll be able to get to their armor a little bit quicker, right? And so the armor is able to come up here, wipe out the infantry, wipe out some OPs, Garys, that sort of thing. So here I am just dropping up some backup supplies in the back line. 36 minutes left on the clock.
They have a lot of control of E45.
Wicks, be careful. There's a ton of infantry over here.
I killed the driver, the heavy that got out to repair.
Okay, so we've regained
Dog is
some control up here, right? And so, but south is still being a pain, and GBI knows this. GBI knows that this is one of the keys to recapturing artillery battery, right? So they're going to dedicate a lot of bodies down there to defend this and keep us from getting that back. And then also, of course, church, right?
marked.
We just lose a heavy right there. Here I am driving by artillery. Sometimes I lose track of where I'm driving.
Gary and B5 saw.
Okay, so there we are again. So there's GBI in the background again and trying to set up another whammo play. And they sneak Garys around, or they sneak SLs around. They're really good at hiding in bushes, hiding in hedges, right? And it's just something you have to deal with. But hey, everybody's trying to win, right? And sometimes you just got to do whatever it takes. And if the enemy is having a lapse in defensive security, then why not try to take advantage of that?
He's inside the house.
Okay, so we have this Gary that's hot over here, and then we're starting to get a little bit more ground to the south. OPs are up here down to the south even further, but we have a Gary warm on Church Road, so they're able to sneak into the strong camp, which is also scary because remember, one of those bodies might be an SL. And they can get an OP up and drop 6 bodies in there right away, right? Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, we'll just wrap this up here shortly. Yeah, so the defensive screen needs to be, just so careful. And plus you see that Gary went down now. And then we only have one body up there watching where they might be coming from, right? And so if he goes down, remember, GBI, if they have a Gary up there within 100 meters and he goes down, that means they could spawn bomb it, right? Because then Gary will be clear in the red zone, in their red zone.
He's running past my body.
Okay, so I die heading into the point, and so this obviously is going to cause some panic on the team. Usually when it's under 10% cap from the enemy, not really too concerned because most of the time it's just sector, but in this case GBI was able to sneak here, sneak there, and just get into strong cap. And once you get into strong cap, right, you count as 3 people. And yeah, just causing a whole bunch of pressure and just making the team a little bit nervous, right?
Yeah, let's not overreact.
So in this case, we ended up just pulling a whole bunch of bodies back here to be able to hold it because we didn't want to lose it again, right? With 30 minutes left to go, let's bring a whole bunch of bodies back, squash them out, and we'll just reset, right? We don't want to lose Church Road again. Okay, so we're moving on here. Everybody's getting back in position with 28 minutes left to go.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for supplies right now.
Okay, I'm trying to just stay in the back line and watch for their enemy SLs. I think in this game I did kill maybe 2 or 3 of them trying to run around, right? But they're persistent. They're not going to give up. And so when and eventually I can't stay there in the whole game, right? I have to drive around the supply truck. I have to go check out this area, that area, right? And yeah. So they'll take advantage of that.
Ammo starts making them panic. Like we can.
Don't make her mad at me.
So we have 3 OPs back behind them.
They're pushing down to the yellow road.
Okay, so once again, the Gary on Church Road goes warm, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, they snuck through again. It's just, oh my gosh. They snuck through again. And so the Gary on Church Road is hot now. And you see here, front door looks, we have nothing front door. So if they have a Gary right here, they can essentially rush on in and go to Church Road. And all these bodies up here are out of sector, remember. And so it's only C5, C6, D5, and D6 that are in sector there. Oh, here I spot a transport truck. Did I kill him? Oh, no, I didn't kill him. My terrible aim.
Yeah, I'm riding right now. We're getting space front door, though. If you look, they
Terrible, terrible aim.
9-10 people back.
And here I'm just trying to lay down and not poke my head because I know for a fact I will not win that gunfight. So I will just hide and wait.
They're rebuilding that front door Gary in E4 or E5.
24 minutes left on the clock.
Who got you guys?
We'll keep going ahead here. To get a launch Gary south. Okay, so now we've gained significant ground back, right? But still front doors under pressure. South is trying, or mid is trying to push right here with the armor. These squads here are going to try to regain this complex, and this heavy down here is going to help try to clear and get in position to reestablish south as well. And then we also have easy squad in the back line. Maybe they can get up a Gary, maybe they can get up an OP. Just overload that with the tanks. It's looking better, but remember, we still got to watch out for GBI sneaking in the back line and front door.
Whoever house squad is.
Is that just front door?
You're asking me, no, I got shot inside.
Oh, I killed a guy. There we go.
Points clear.
There we go. I killed a guy.
Strong points at 2.
It's always, I always feel so much better. Okay, so we have, so we have Gary up here, Church Road. We have bodies front door. OPs are clear around. OPs are collapsing in, sort of, right? We do have some potential areas where they can sneak on through. But overall, it looks like we're getting closer and closer back to the initial post-mid cap in the very beginning of the match. So I'm just trying to hide in a bush pretty much and watch the strong point because somehow or another they keep sneaking around and getting into the circle. So I'm just trying to watch it and make sure everything's just generally okay. And I'll do my best to kill them if I just stay in one spot and wait for them to come to me. I'm not going to try to run a gun.
Put it same spot it's up.
So here we have GBI sneaking around again, lighting up that garrison in the back line. And yeah, it's just like, damn it, here we go again, right? So we have to respond to that. Okay, so we have a response to that coming up, right? But now this leaves front door sort of open. And since the front door, they're attacking front door artillery markers, you can see here, artillery has to fall there and not in the back line, or not towards front door to help out the push artillery battery. So we have that sacrifice in play.
Gary's from behind.
So Garrison's lighting up on Church Road, just northwest of me. So I'm trying to peek slowly. Do I get any kills here?
Probably from the north, around the Gary top.
Oh yeah, I do. I think I did.
Locked.
Maybe.
Thanks, Mark.
Nope. So I just hide. Hope he takes down the Gary.
He's dead.
Smithers, you P-strike?
Yes.
You
I got the
P-strike
guy, Waffle.
low
So
tank mark?
he took down the Gary, but is able to quickly put one back up due to those pre-striped, pre-drop supplies.
It's in Fox 6.
Got 2 front door.
14:49 left on the clock. I drop a Stuka. Doesn't get a kill. I got 9 CE, which most likely means the tank commander. Okay, so we have 14 minutes left on the clock. So map positioning. We have front door right here. They need to get a Gary up. They need to get a Gary up down here as well, but totally understand. Most of the time SLs are under so much fire and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't get a Gary up to save my life, or the artillery keeps destroying the supplies, which is also a very common one that people forget about, is that artillery is going to be landing in those spots. Support player comes in, drops supplies, and then artillery smashes them to pieces. And then you got to remember too, the cooldown timer for those supplies then, that still is active, right? Just because the supplies were destroyed doesn't mean the cooldown timer goes away. And, but yeah, so in this situation as commander, I mean, the biggest thing right now with 14 minutes is just try to get some launch Garys up. So we have one Gary up here. We'll get a Gary up down here and here maybe, hopefully. And then we'll see how that develops. So just skipping ahead here. Wix, I'll be converting
They still have 1.
munitions.
Yeah, I got 'em.
And so that'll mean... Okay, so I'm just trying to stay on point here because once again, GBI keeps sneaking bodies inside the point, and so I just want to be able to be inside the point and just tell what the chevrons are to understand what the enemy pressure looks like.
That was just a...
Okay, so we'll just keep skipping ahead.
King Squad for support.
Attack is potentially looking good. This is where GBI may have decided to bring most everybody back to the defense, right? I think we're close to under 10 minutes remaining. And so map situation looks okay. I mean, we do have a potential for a launch. I think the tanks are like, okay, hey, we're going to give it a shot. And GBI, remember, has the advantage here because their tanks can just sit and wait for us to push, and they can react, right? Pretty cool, or much easier than we can because we're looking for their tanks, right? And they're getting, and we're pushing up, and so their infantry are obviously going to relay calls and signals back, right? So the tanks can decide how to react to our push. Okay, so we skip ahead here. I'm trying to figure out maybe there's a good spot to drop an airhead. I don't know. Usually in competitive play, it's only, at least for me personally, there's only a couple times where I drop an airhead. And it's usually if to bolster an attack, or that's in a good spot around a bunch of OPs maybe. Defensive airhead in the final minutes when we're up 3-2, and just to bolster the defense and have a backup spawn. And then, of course, you have the crazy Hail Mary play for an airhead where you say, all right, I'll try a pub play and see if it works. It has never worked in my case. So in this case, we have full front door moving in, tanks are moving in. So I'm trying to time up the bombing run, so at least maybe the tanks can take advantage of the chaos a little bit, the smoke and will come up from the explosions and debris, and maybe they'll get an extra couple seconds advantage. And of course, maybe, who knows, maybe the bombing runner will tank or track a tank fully 76 in this case. Okay, so I also dropped in a strafing one right there. I'm on Church Road. As we can see here, the strong point was just 1-0. So GBI's on full defense, right? They only have 3 minutes left to go. They're not going to risk anything. They're okay. They're just going to pull everybody back, make sure everybody's playing AT and so forth, and make sure that everything's okay. So airhead actually went up. It spawned. Church Road suddenly became contested. So what I just said, forget about that. So GBI knows we're on the full attack here, and so they dedicated some bodies front door. I'm in the middle of the strong point. Yep. I just got to listen around, just stay in this house, and maybe I can hold back. So remember, the strong point's contested. I'm the only one in here. So either they're on the, there's only one body in the circle with me, or there's 3 bodies outside the circle, right? I drop a reinforce as well, just to pad my pad my ability. Tanks are rushing into the point. This is actually kind of exciting in these final minutes because you never know what might happen. So we have a medium rushing into the point. I believe the heavies have been shot down already. So we have flares going up. Tanks are spotted. I'm just sitting here listening on point, seeing if anybody's coming by me. It's always like, come on, just a little bit of contesting. Come on.
26 seconds.
Let's go, guys.
Okay, so at this point, oh, I see him.
I got fucked on that airhead.
Oh, I got him. Oh. I got him. But no doubt they know where I am now. So I go up and try to find a little nice spot, and unfortunately we hit the 2-minute mark, and as you can see here, so the tanks got wiped out on point. I think there was 2 or 3 heavies and the medium, so they all got wiped out because remember GBI has a lot easier reaction time here. And so we end up wrapping this up with a 2-3 loss. So once again, artillery battery, just a quick recap here. And so the Allies, I think, have the advantage in my opinion. And so the north part, for obviously first priority, strong cap control. Second part would be the church control. Third area control would be this area down here. And okay. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Just a quick stream today, everybody. And just give a quick match review, and I'll be sure to maybe do another one later. Not 100% sure. But I'll be streaming Phoenix versus Vanguards here in about 15 minutes. So, yeah. All right, I'll see you all later.